Something's wrong with Prince Harry. You can see it in his eyes. Haunted, distant, almost unrecognizable. The man once known for laughter, rebellion, and heart now looks like he's silently screaming behind a smile. And when he sat down for that BBC interview, the truth didn't need to be said out loud. It was written all over his face. But here's the question that no one dares to ask. Is Harry still making his own choices, or is someone else pulling the strings? Because according to Thomas Markle Jr., this isn't just about love or family drama. It's something far more chilling. He says Meghan isn't just influencing Harry, she's scripting him. And if what he says is true, then everything we've seen, the interviews, the public breakdowns, the paranoia, has been carefully staged. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll never look at Harry or Meghan the same way again. We all remember the old Harry, the wild card of the royal family. He broke protocol, made headlines, laughed at the absurdity of palace life. There was something real about him, something raw. Whether he was sneaking out to party or standing with wounded veterans, he did it with fire in his eyes. But look at him now. That spark is gone. And in its place, a man who looks like he's been drained of energy, of identity, of purpose. And the most unsettling part? Every word he says now feels handed to him, like someone rehearsed it with him backstage. The emotion is still there, but it feels filtered, processed, controlled. You hear him talk about safety, about the media, about his truth. But whose truth is he really telling? According to Thomas Markle Jr., Harry's not speaking from the heart anymore. He's reciting lines. And those lines? He says they've been written by Meghan. This isn't some wild conspiracy theory whispered in tabloids. It's a pattern, a strategy, a method of total control masked as partnership. Meghan isn't playing the role of a supportive wife. She's directing the entire show. She's the star. She's the writer. And Harry? He's just the prop. But it goes deeper than just control. According to Tom, Meghan doesn't just want attention, she wants legacy. And not just any legacy, she wants Diana's. That's the part that's hard to ignore. From the carefully worded interviews to the wardrobe choices that mirror iconic Diana looks, it feels less like coincidence and more like calculation. Meghan doesn't just admire the late princess. Tom believes she's trying to become her. She's constructing a narrative where she's the misunderstood victim of a ruthless institution, oppressed by royalty and hunted by the press. Sound familiar? Except there's one massive difference. Diana had grace, empathy, humanity. Meghan, critics argue, has performance. Her every move feels positioned for optics. Her pain looks packaged, her strength rehearsed. When she speaks, it's less about what's being said and more about how it will land. And behind her, always, stands Harry, nodding, echoing her words, reading his next cue. And it begs the question, if this is all part of a script, what role does Harry even play now? While Harry stumbles through interviews looking like a man barely holding it together, Meghan's online world tells a different story. Scroll through her posts and you'll find sunshine, gratitude, polished outfits, and soft lighting. She's smiling with the kids, launching new lifestyle products, talking about self-care routines on podcasts that feel like scripted ads. It's a curated fantasy, an image of a woman thriving. And that contrast? It's almost disturbing. Because while Harry seems visibly tormented, haunted by paranoia and a sense of isolation, Meghan is projecting happiness, success, and calm. She says she's never been happier, that life has never been more peaceful. But how can one half of a marriage be glowing while the other is visibly falling apart? To Tom, the answer is obvious. It's all part of the act. He believes Meghan's public image is carefully maintained to sell a brand, a lifestyle, a version of herself that fans can admire and critics can't touch. Meanwhile, Harry becomes the emotional shield, the damaged partner whose pain justifies every decision she makes. And if that's true, it means Harry's suffering isn't just a side effect. It might be the point. But as jarring as that sounds, it's not even the most troubling pattern. Long before the royal spotlight, Long before the palace drama, Meghan had already shown signs of a cold, calculated pattern. According to her brother, the warning signs were there for anyone willing to look. Take her first husband, Trevor Engelson. He adored her, supported her through the early days of her career, paid for things, believed in her. And then, without a warning, without a fight, she mailed his wedding ring back. No phone call, no goodbye, just a silent exit. One moment he was her world, the next, he wasn't part of the plan anymore. It was clinical, detached, strategic. The same thing happened to her father, the man who worked brutal hours to fund her private education and help launch her acting career. When she made it big, he was gone. Ghosted. Painted as a problem, a liability, an obstacle to her brand. Her siblings, cut off, old friends, faded into silence. And to Tom, it's no mystery why. He believes Meghan doesn't handle relationships the way most people do. It's not about love, loyalty, or connection. It's about usefulness. The moment someone stops serving her image, they vanish. And now, watching Harry, isolated from his family, cut off from his friends, parroting carefully crafted lines, it feels all too familiar. The same pattern, the same playbook. But this time, the stakes are much, much higher. There was a moment that sent chills down the spines of even the most neutral observers. When Harry publicly suggested that members of his own family, his father, King Charles, and unnamed government figures might want him dead. It wasn't just shocking, it was surreal. He claimed that if he ever returned to Britain with Meghan and the children, a tragedy could strike, just like what happened to Diana. The implication? That powerful people in his own bloodline might orchestrate his downfall. But who thinks like that? Who makes those kinds of accusations without evidence against the very people who raised them? To Thomas Markle Jr., the answer is painfully clear. He believes those ideas didn't come from Harry. They were planted, scripted, rehearsed. He sees Meghan's fingerprints all over the paranoia, the fear, the narrative of victimhood wrapped in royal tragedy. It's a performance, he claims, a story designed to elevate Meghan's image while casting the royal family as villains in a modern-day Shakespearean drama. And Harry? He's not just repeating it, he believes it. That's the terrifying part. Because if someone can make you question your past, your blood, your very identity, what's left of you? And more importantly, what happens when they no longer need you to play your part? When Meghan first married into the royal family, many hoped she'd bring something fresh, modern, progressive, compassionate. But what followed, according to insiders, wasn't about tradition or service. It was about branding, visibility, power. Reports say the Queen personally requested that Meghan and Harry stop using their HRH titles after stepping back from royal duties to protect the institution and avoid commercial exploitation. A clear boundary, a royal decree. But Meghan ignored it. She kept using the title on websites, on promotional materials, on product pitches, not because it represented duty, but because it sold. The monarchy gave Meghan a platform, and she turned it into a stage. Every public appearance, every curated photo op, every glossy interview became an opportunity to expand the brand of Meghan, not the Duchess, not the humanitarian, but the influencer, the lifestyle mogul, the new royalty, but on her own terms. She didn't want to serve the crown, she wanted to own the spotlight. And when the palace pushed back, Meghan flipped the narrative. Suddenly, she wasn't defying centuries-old protocol. She was being oppressed, bullied, silenced, and Harry? He followed suit, word for word. But what if it wasn't oppression at all? What if it was just the palace trying to preserve something sacred, while Meghan saw it as an obstacle to be bulldozed? Because for someone chasing global fame, there's no title more valuable than Duchess, even if you no longer belong to the royal family that gave it to you. If there's one thing Thomas Markle Jr. can't ignore, it's the silence. The total, deliberate silence surrounding Archie and Lilibet. According to him, neither of the children have met their grandfather, King Charles, nor have they met Thomas himself, their maternal grandfather. Two sides of a family, both erased, cut off, deleted from the picture. And Meghan's explanation? Safety. But Tom calls it what it really is: control. He says the children have become leverage, royal bargaining chips used to maintain distance, rewrite narratives, and keep Meghan's version of events unchallenged. By cutting ties with both sides of the family, she shields the children not just from drama, but from truth, from perspective, from any voice that might question hers. It's not protection, it's power. And Harry? He seems to accept it. Whether out of fear, loyalty, or total belief in the story he's been fed, he's gone along with it. One by one, the people who knew him best, his father, his brother, his oldest friends, have been shut out. Voices that could have grounded him, reminded him of who he was, are gone. Tom believes it's by design. Meghan, he claims, didn't just want Harry. She wanted to own the narrative around him. And the only way to do that was to cut every thread that tied him to his past. Strip away his family, his friendships, his heritage. And once that was done, all that remained was her voice, her script, her plan. But behind all the smiling Instagram posts and luxury branding, the cracks are beginning to show. On the surface, everything still looks polished. Meghan's face appears on podcast covers. Her voice echoes through self-help segments. Her lifestyle products are sleek, her website elegant, her messaging carefully worded. But something's off. The shine feels forced. The warmth feels missing. Thomas Markle Jr. sees it clearly. This isn't confidence anymore, it's desperation. Her latest projects, no matter how expensive or high-end, lack one essential ingredient: authenticity. They scream, "Look at me." But the world is starting to scroll right past. What once felt fresh now feels hollow. And as public interest fades, the need to stay relevant grows louder. More photo ops, more product launches, more stories about motherhood, struggle, resilience, crafted, repackaged, sold. It's branding without a soul. And behind all that noise is a woman who, according to Tom, knows exactly what's slipping through her fingers. Because when public sympathy dries up, when platforms stop calling, when the royal fairy tale loses its magic, what's left? The redemption arc. Tom predicts it's only a matter of time before Meghan pivots, that she'll attempt to reconnect with the family she's burned, not out of regret, but out of strategy. He believes the next chapter will be a glossy docuseries, teary-eyed reconciliations, a story of forgiveness. But behind the scenes, it'll be the same old pattern: burn the bridge, then sell the rebuild. Because when the spotlight fades, you don't heal. You rebrand. For Thomas Markle Jr., the ending is already written. He says the moment Prince Harry loses his royal titles, everything will change. Because without the Duke and His Royal Highness, there's no brand to leverage, no headlines to chase, no weight behind Meghan's name. And when that happens, when Harry no longer holds any value in the royal marketplace, Tom believes she'll walk. Maybe not immediately, maybe not dramatically, but quietly, with purpose, just like she's done before. And Harry? He'll be left standing in the ruins. No palace, no family, no connection to the legacy he was born into. Just a fading spotlight and a long list of people he pushed away. Tom doesn't say this with malice. He says it with heartbreak. Because he remembers the old Harry, the prince who laughed with children, hugged strangers, and fought for the people who couldn't fight for themselves. That Harry is gone now, swallowed up by a narrative he never truly wrote. And the saddest part? Everyone saw it coming. Thomas even wrote to Harry before the wedding, begging him to think twice, warning him that if Meghan could cut off her own family without a second thought, she could do the same to him. He wasn't being cruel, he was being honest. But Harry didn't listen. He followed the script. And now, the final act is approaching. What happens when the spotlight dims, the titles disappear, and the audience turns away? What's left of a man who gave everything for a story he didn't control? We're about to find out.